Good afternoon, everyone. TGIF. This is our live Q&A, COVID Q&A. So questions and answers to all things COVID. While I wait for people to join, I did just want to show or share some of my references. I was trying to screen share it, but I not having any luck in doing that. So sorry about that. So I can't screen share it, but just some of the references that I usually use when I talk about, facts about the whole COVID situation. Just wanted to share those with you. So in regards to the vaccines, one of the articles I used was authored by Party, Hogan, and Wiseman. It's titled mRNA Vaccines, A New Era in Vaccinology. And it was posted or published in the Nature Reviews Drug Discovery back in 2018. Another article I used was authored by Sue and Du L. The title is called Learning from the Past, Development of Safe and Effective COVID-19 Vaccines. That was published in Nature Reviews Microbiology back in 2020. Another one is authored by Singh, Sabrana, Awatu, Yashikawa, Newman, and Guerin. The title is Immunization with SARS Coronavirus Vaccines Leads to Pulmonary Immunopathology on Challenge with the SARS Virus. That was published in PLOS One back in 2012. Another one here where it was called, you know about the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee meeting. That was posted December 17, 2020. It was the FDA briefing document for Moderna. The same thing for Pfizer, but it was posted December 10th of 2020. Then here's another article published by or written by Weingart, sub M and sub S. The title is Immunization with Modified Vaccinia Virus, Ankara-based recombinant vaccine against severe acute respiratory syndrome, which is SARS, associated with enhanced hepatitis in ferrets, and that was published in the Journal of Virology back in 2004. And then the last one here was McKenna K, authored by McKenna K. The title is Use of Aborted Fetal Tissue in Vaccines and Medical Research Obscures the Value of All Human Life. That was published in the Lineker Quarterly in 2018. In regards to treatments, just some of the data here. One was from the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance. That was published. It was a condensed summary of the emerging evidence supporting the use of ivermectin in prophylaxis and treatment of COVID-19. You also had another journal article that was published by Hellwig and Maya. It's called A COVID-19 Prophylaxis. It said lower incidence associated with prophylactic administration of ivermectin. That was published in the International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents back in 2020. Then you had ivermectin and COVID-19. What do we know? That was published in the Diabetes and Metabolic Syndrome Clinical Research and Reviews Journal back in 2020 as well. Let me get some that don't have anything to do with ivermectin. That was enough of ivermectin here. There's another article, the one I mentioned about the hydroxychloroquine. It was published or authored by Vincent Bergeron, Vinjenet, Erickson, Rollin, Kaziak, Sadaya, and Nickel. And that was called Chloroquine is a Potent Inhibitor of SARS Coronavirus Infection and Spread. That was published back in 2005 in the Virology Journal. And then you had the other one that was done by Zervos and Kalkinis. It was called Treatment with Hydroxychloroquine Cut Death Rate Significantly in COVID-19 Patients. And that was actually a study done here in Detroit, Michigan at Henry Ford Health System back in 2020. In regards to vitamin D, got a few articles on that. I'll mention a few. One was authored by Murdaka, Piogia, Negrini. It was called Vitamin D and COVID-19, an update on evidence and potential therapeutic implications. That was published in the Clinical and Molecular Allergy Journal back in 2020. Then there was another journal article. It was titled Vitamin D and COVID-19, Do Deficient Risk a Poor Outcome? That was published back in the Lancet Journal in 2020. Then you have another one, authored authored by Laird, Rose, and Kenny. It was titled Vitamin D and Inflammation, Potential Implications for Severity of COVID-19. That was published in the Irish Medical Journal back in 2020. Then you had the SHADE trial that was done by Rastagi, Bonsali, Kerr, Suri, a whole bunch of people. But it was saying short-term high-dose vitamin D supplementation for COVID-19 disease. It was a randomized placebo-controlled trial published in 2020 in the Postgrad Medical Journal. So there's other ones here. Then here's another one authored by Castillo, Costa, Barrios, Diaz, Miranda, Gomez, and Bouillon. The name of the article was Effect of Calcifediol, which is vitamin D treatment, and best available therapy versus best available therapy on intensive care unit admission and mortality among patients hospitalized for COVID-19. It was a pilot randomized clinical study published in the Journal of Steroid Biochemistry and Molecular Biology in 2020. There's also some on quercetin. One in particular was authored by Biancatelli, Burrell, Katravas, and Merrick. It was called Quercetin Vitamin C, an experimental synergistic therapy for the prevention and treatment of SARS-CoV-2 related disease. It was published in Frontiers in Immunology back in 2020. So there's a lot of different studies here just to see if you can find information about the gain of function research that I was telling you about that Dr. Fauci was involved in. That was actually published in the Journal of Infectious Disease back in 2016. And it was authored by Kilansky and Nuzzo Majarad. And we're talking about the gain of function research and the relevance to clinical practice. So I just wanted to share some of those published articles and studies so you can know where I'm getting my references and my sources from. But like I said, I'm here to empower you to live and thrive in the midst of a pandemic. I'm not here to feed you lies. I'm not here to support anybody's agenda. I have no personal gain at all from this. But I do know that what's going on is a major crime against humanity. It's genocide at its finest. It's fueled by lies and fear. And I want everybody to know you don't have to fall prey to it. The vaccine is definitely not necessary. It's not needful, and it's not safe for your body. And then the last thing I'll say, then I get over to the questions. They always talk about the side effects, and the side effects about the pain of the injection site or flu-like symptoms, but they never talk to you about the adverse events that took place in the people who received these vaccines. That's the part that's damaging. It's very scary. Like I said, death is some things that have happened with people who have received the vaccines, including, like I said, heart attacks, strokes, kidney, liver disease, multi-system organ failure, autoimmune disease, such as rheumatoid arthritis, but a lot of different crazy things, cancer even, blood clots, pulmonary embolism. So I hope at the end of the day that I presented enough information to help you make an informed decision. So you know that you can live and you can live without the vaccine. So saying all that, let's go here. So hello, everybody. So Gino says, good morning. His job is making COVID vaccine mandatory. How can I avoid getting it? Gino, they should not be making it mandatory because, for one, it's not even FDA approved. And so this is some things I would say that you can use to combat it. For one, it's an experimental vaccine. So right now it's still considered experimental. For two, it's not FDA approved. For three, if you have any issues, like if you had a history of allergies to anything, you can get a letter from your PCP stating that because of your allergy history, it's not advised. If you do have a history of autoimmune disease or any cardiovascular disease, you can also take a copy of the data that I read from the FDA briefing documents for both Moderna and Pfizer, take that and show that people who had those conditions actually fared worse when it came down to being exposed to that vaccine. So take all that information. There's also, you can Google it, different people out here that's trying to actually fight against it as well, because it's against your constitutional right. At the end of the day, if they don't want to receive it, I'd advise looking for another job. That's what I would advise. But definitely don't get it. As Shay said, can masks cause bacterial pneumonia? What can we do to prevent this if masks are mandatory at jobs or school? Like I said, I'm going to give my professional opinion about masks. I do not want masks to be a distraction against the overall arching point. And the reason why I came out in the first place is to inform you guys to stay away from the vaccine. So that's my loudest message: stay away from the vaccine. I don't want to debate with people about masks. I know that they made everybody afraid and make you think mask is helping you, but truly it's not. And that's just the truth because of the size of the particle size with this virus. It's not helping. But at the end of the day, can masks cause bacterial pneumonia? That was your question. I can't say that it can cause bacterial pneumonia. I haven't read anything about that, but I do know there is a lot of bacteria that's in the mask from you inhaling it, because your mouth, we had this saying, in our training that your mouth is the dirtiest place in the body because the mouth is full of bacteria. So you're wearing this mask for a prolonged period of time. You're exhaling all these carbon dioxide that should be released out into the air. You're putting that in that mask on top of all the bacteria that's already in your mouth. And because your nose is also covered, you're inhaling all that back in. So does it have a potential? I would say most definitely has a potential. You're shutting off your oxygen, you're recirculating bad bacteria, you're recirculating carbon dioxide. So it is nasty. And for someone who is immunocompromised or have issues with asthma or other respiratory situations like COPD or chronic bronchitis, it can pose a threat. And what can we do to prevent this if masks are mandatory at jobs and schools? This is something I'm going to try to start working on. It's I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but we need to start resisting. As a community, as a nation, we really truly need to come together in unity and resist the powers that be, resist the lies out here, resist the fact that someone is trying to usurp your own power to make a decision about your life, your health, and well-being. Masks, especially right now, my son is playing basketball and they're making him wear a mask while playing basketball. That is the most dangerous, horrific thing. So of course, I've had my choice conversations with powers that be, but it's dangerous. I mean, that's a time where kids are exerting a lot of energy and they need oxygen for their heart, for other muscles in their body, and they're depriving them of that. That is so dangerous to prevent a virus that these kids at that particular age range is very, very, very low risk. So it's ridiculous. But I think the best thing we can do as a people and as a nation is come together, unify, resist the powers that be, say no, and not fall prey to what they're trying to do. Because if we continue to follow with them and do what they want to do, then they'll continue to control us. Oh yeah, somebody also mentioned that you can't get a letter from your church in regards to your job too. Getting a letter from your pastor. So if your pastor is in agreement with no to the vaccine, you can get a letter saying that as a faith-based community, you're not for it, and they're supposed to honor that. Someone talked about airlines making it mandatory that people be vaccinated to fly. I only heard that United Airlines was toying around with that idea. But once again, if we all unite, United Airlines is a business and they want to make money. So if everybody unite and stand together and refuse to wear a mask, guess what? United Airlines is going to have to change their policies, or they're going to have to go out of business. And I don't think anybody go into business to go out of business. So if we unite, we resist, we refuse, then we don't have to worry about all these crazy mandates coming out. So you said, what is my opinion about these new variants? In regards to the variants, one thing I want you all to know too, viruses, they mutate. That's what viruses do. So this is nothing new. This is nothing uncommon. Viruses mutate. That's exactly what they do. And the interesting thing is, for what I've read about the different variants that's coming out, it's thought that they will be weaker than the original strain that was out before. So we haven't seen any uptake in regards to cases or deaths related to these new strains being out here. Of course, those who are feeding a particular propaganda, they're trying to make it seem like it's something life-threatening. But trust and believe you me, viruses mutate. That's what they're supposed to do. There's nothing uncommon or strange about it. And once again, I mean, we don't have to fear any variant. We don't have to fear anything. To be honest with you, we don't have to fear anything at all whatsoever. So let viruses do what they do. We continue to make sure we build our temples up so we can become immune to whatever is going on in the outside world. It says, do I have any personal thoughts on the vaccine possible connection to market of beast or precursor to it? So, right, because I don't have any professional data to support that. But in regards to a personal thought, if we don't resist and we submit to this crime against humanity, then I do believe that they will try to mandate it in different arenas. And I do believe that they can say that if you weren't vaccinated, that you can't go to the store, or you can't go to the grocery store, or you can't get on this plane, or you can't, so I do believe that they can use it like the mark of the beast, that unless you have it, you won't be able to buy, sell, trade. That's my personal belief about it. But like I said, we can all resist, like totally resist. And we really don't have to worry about that being the issue. So if everybody can get out of fear long enough and really just sit back and think about this thing, we don't have to, allow this regime to continue. It says, are they starting to make it mandatory? I haven't seen anywhere outside of like United Airlines that was talking about making it mandatory, but I haven't seen it being mandated like in the hospitals. And like I said, they shouldn't be able to mandate it. Another thing, an argument that you can give to your job don't want that liability. Okay. So another argument is that it's experimental. It's still in a clinical trial. It's experimental. There is no long-term data to show whether or not it's truly safe. So for that reason, I mean, make that argument, stand up for yourself, because that's ridiculous to mandate an experimental drug. It's experimental with no long-term data. The references that I quoted today about the old other vaccines, like ones that be similar to Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca, as well as a messenger RNA. Go show them those articles. Show them what happened to the animal models back with the old traditional vaccines for coronavirus when they tried to do it before, how they were dying, how they were going to liver failure, severe lung disease. Show them that. Show them the mRNA reports from from Moderna and Pfizer, how people were dying, having heart attacks, strokes, and blood clots. And that was only the short term. So we don't have any long-term data to substantiate mandating and making something from outside that can be deadly and lethal to people mandatory. So show them the proof, show them the data, get you an attorney if you need to. Someone said they know, yeah, freedom through truth. If you can share that attorney's information, that'd be excellent. So I can put on the screen so people can have access to it. Robin says she contracted COVID last week. You're taking the quercetin 500 milligrams and vitamin C, still feeling the weather. What are some other things you can do to help with this virus? So the quercetin, 500 milligrams a day, and the vitamin C, hopefully you're taking at least, the quercetin should be 500 milligrams twice a day if you have the virus. The vitamin C should be 1,000 milligrams twice a day. But even more important is the vitamin D. So if you have the virus, I recommend getting some vitamin D. A high dose, it's going to sound kind of crazy, but what I've been giving my patients is 50,000 international units twice a week. week for those first 2 weeks. And even with the research and studies that were done where they gave high dose of vitamin D to the people in the ICU with coronavirus, they start turning around within 24 to 48 hours. So I would definitely recommend adding that. The other thing is, Robin, I don't know your medical history. So I would advise following up with your PCP, because if you have like any history of cardiac issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, something else that would be recommended is aspirin, 325 milligrams once a day. If you're having issues with shortness of breath or cough, you may need antibiotics as well, because it's the viral associated pneumonia that comes into play, which actually is the thing that's more lethal than the virus itself. So if, having that prevention available is also, required based on how you're feeling in your medical history. Oh, and the other thing, everybody be excited. Okay, I did go look up black seed oil. Yay. But black seed oil, they actually have a few studies out there that's been published. One was peer reviewed already as well, too. Some studies that was done over in Pakistan was one of them. And it showed to be very effective. The dose was high. It was like 80 milligrams per kilogram, per day or whatever, that you want to divide that over 3 doses across the day. But the excellent thing that I was reading about the black seed oil, what they noticed, it has antiviral properties. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. It's also have antioxidant properties. It's also an anticoagulant. So the whole thing with the blood clotting and everything that happens in the later phase of the coronavirus infection. The black seed oil was shown to be effective against all of that. One of the studies, they paired it with honey and had people, drink some honey and take the black seed oil. Another study, they gave the black seed oil with zinc. And so they both shown to be very, very effective. So that will be something else you can do. Black seed oil, you should be able to purchase that over the counter. I just wanted to share something here. Just the effectiveness, like I said, was outstanding. So thanks for whoever told me to look into it. So it says that this is the study for the honey and the black seed oil. And what they noticed is that it alleviated the COVID-19 symptoms in 4 or 6 days in moderate and severe cases, compared to 7 to 13 days in the control group. So the control group would be the people who didn't get the black seed oil. They also noticed that mortality significantly decreased as well for those who got the black seed oil and honey. Then the other thing they noticed that in moderate cases, 96.26% of moderate case patients managed to resume daily activities by day 10, compared to 68.93% in the control group. So it obviously shows to be very, 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 very effective. So definitely get you some of that. It works. Oh, yes, Robin, I forgot about ivermectin, but you'll have to get that from your clinician as well. Okay, hold on, I'm trying to get through here. See, Freedom Through Faith took some. Ivermectin, she said, he or she said they did it. In 30 minutes, they felt 80% better. Later, they 99% better. You can buy it on Amazon. Now that I didn't know, because here in America, it is prescription strength. And yes, they do use it in animals as well as humans. But so yeah, I didn't know you can get it on Amazon, but it is very cheap. Most of my patients only pay like $3 to $5 or whatever for it when they pick the prescription up. Yeah, having heaviness in your chest and throat and wearing a mask is true. You're depriving yourself of oxygen. You're recirculating a toxic particle that's supposed to be released, and you, like I said, all the bacteria is nasty and it's not safe. Yes, Revelations. I did see those reports where they were. So what they're saying is that for women right now, if you get the vaccine, not to get your mammogram for at least a few months after getting the vaccine. because of the simple fact that it's causing, inflammation of the lymph nodes when you get the vaccine. And so if the lymph nodes are inflamed and you go and get the mammogram, it's going to show a false positive, on your mammogram test for that particular reason. So they're telling them to either, if they're going to get the mammogram, either wait to get the vaccine, or if they got the vaccine, they got to wait some time before they get the mammogram because of what it's doing to the lymph nodes, which would make it seem like a false positive mammogram. Yes, social disobedience. We need to do that. Yes, the information for Yale from the Yale study is accessible if they haven't taken it down yet, because they're watching everything I'm doing right now. So I don't know if they're taking it down or not. So the Yale University COVID-19 vaccine messaging part 1, you can find it. The website is https://clinicaltrials.gov/C-T, the number 2, /NC-T 04460-703. So that's where you can find the Yale University study. And then the other one that the National Institutes of Health put out is called a COVID-19 vaccination communication, applying behavioral and social science to address vaccine hesitancy and foster vaccine confidence. So you should be able to find those. So someone says, doesn't a virus in its natural form take years to mutate? Because how I see it, only a man-made entity would have so many variety in such a short space of time. So I'm not a virologist. I don't study viruses. But one thing I do know is that I don't know the correct answer to your question. But what I do know is that with the flu virus seems like it mutates almost every year. So that's why you get a different vaccine every year, because they're trying to figure out what will be the new strain that's going to come out and, try to put that inside the vaccine to give some level of protection. But another thing I do know is that they have been manipulating the coronavirus. Like I said, Dr. Fauci and that whole gain of function research, they've been manipulating this virus for a very, very long time, for years, even back when President Obama was president. So they've been manipulating this for years. Like I said, this is truly a planned out attack against humanity. And people can act like this is just a freak of nature event that took place, but it's not. They planned this a very, very long time ago. The mRNA vaccines, they've been planning this whole thing is a plot and a scheme. Like I said, it's a major crime against humanity. It's genocide at its finest. And they are manipulating this virus. So like I said, them trying to act like they don't know what's going on is a lie from hell. And that is true. Freedom Through Faith said, taking this vaccine, you're entering a human trial. You are, because will be a part of the human trial if you take the vaccine. The other thing that you're a part of a human trial, if you go to the hospital, all the medication that they're using right now, or I say majority, like remdesivir and even the monoclonal antibodies and everything else that they're doing, is all new. It's all new drugs. So you will be a part of experiment. So they're experimenting on humans in the name of trying to save a life, but they're not trying to save your life. So we don't want to be a part of that. I'm going to put this on here because, and I really wish I paid attention, but I was actually in a webinar the other day, and it was talking about this whole thing, Melinda and Bill Gates and all of them or whatever, buying up all these farmlands or whatever. And I can't remember everything they said about it, but it was all a part of, it's like a global agenda, that's going on. So, just beware. But that's why I advocate that we need to go and buy up our own property and our own land and start having our own organic farms where we can grow our own fresh produce, our own vegetables, our own fruit, raise our own animals if we wanted to in a nice, sustained, organic environment. So then that way we won't, be left out, not having to, look for their food or ask for their resources or be exposed to all these genetically modified organisms and all this other stuff. They're cloning chickens. The FDA allowed them to clone chickens. So you don't know what the crap we're eating now in America. But getting your own organic farms, I push for it 100%. So that's something that I recommend we do. So she said her husband just had open heart surgery. Yeah. Tell your husband, don't get the vaccine. Please don't get the vaccine. Someone here, vitamin D3 with K2 and oil of oregano. Yes, of course, vitamin D3 with K2 is excellent. The other thing about oil of oregano that's really good, oil of oregano is a natural herb that's used to treat bacterial infections, especially in the gut. So when we talk about immune systems, we got to remember that majority of our immune system originates in our gut. So the healthier our gut is, the healthier our immune system is. Oil of oregano, especially, you got to make sure it's emulsified. So that's important. So you can go all the way through the small intestine, also part of the large intestine. So you want to make sure it's an emulsified oil of oregano, but it's shown to be very, very effective in killing off bad bacteria. Don't recommend, doing it for a prolonged period of time. You usually want to be under the guidance of a holistic clinician, because for a long period of time, it can be bad and really disrupt the whole gut microbiome. But it does help on the short term. Let's see. Excuse me for the pause, but this thing is jumping screens, throwing me off. I'm sorry. Okay, excellent. So the attorney for the mandatory vaccine is Leslie Manookian with The Greater Good. It says you can watch her video on Instagram of Dr. Stephen Baker, posted January 26th. So Dr. Leslie Manookian, or attorney Leslie Manookian. Yes, the black seed oil was shown to be very effective. I mean, I saw it was also effective against diabetes, asthma, obesity. It was effective against high blood pressure, diabetes, viruses. I mean, like all types of stuff. It was really phenomenal. So, like I said, kudos and thank you so much for those who had me look into it. I was really impressed. So Anita said she was taking all that except zinc and quercetin, but ended up getting COVID, lost your taste and smell, blah, blah, still getting over the phlegm. So Anita, I would say the vitamin D, making sure the high levels, high dose of vitamin D is very important. So with all of this stuff, nothing has shown to be 100% effective. Okay. Nothing has shown to be 100% effective. I have to put that there. But if you, like I said, get your body primed good, right, with those vitamins and supplements that you need, then if you do get the virus, then your case would be mild. It won't be as severe, as those who are zinc deficient or vitamin D deficient or vitamin C deficient or, not having the quercetin or the black seed oil. But the other thing also you got to realize too is just going back to your overall health. And I'm going to pause here for a second because it is so important. Like I tell my patients at my office, you cannot supplement your way out of healthy eating. Eating what you eat. I believe you can eat your way to life or you can eat your way to death. What you eat is very, very important. Very, very important. So if you're eating a diet full of gluten, gluten is your wheat, barley, and rye. You find gluten in breads, pastas, desserts, all that type of stuff. If you're eating a diet high in dairy, whether it's cheese, which got casomorphin to make you addicted to it. It mimics morphine, so it's intentionally trying to make you addicted to it. Cheese, ice cream, milk, yogurts, whatever, cottage cheese, dairy, highly inflammatory. If you're eating a whole bunch of sugar, highly inflammatory. If you're eating stuff with high fructose corn syrup, highly inflammatory, also cause insulin resistance, leading to diabetes and also cancers. If you're eating stuff with artificial colors, artificial dyes, artificial flavors, if you're consuming a diet full of all that poison, if you're eating meats or vegetables or fruit and it's not organic, if you're eating meats that's not organic, then that means you're getting everything that that cow or that animal has. So whether they injected hormones, steroids, antibiotics, you're eating that. And that stuff is not supposed to go in your body. If you're eating fruits and vegetables that's not organic, you're also exposing yourself to pesticides. It may not kill you right off like it will an insect that comes, but it's still got properties in there that will cause cellular death. So you have to change how you eat. It's so imperative. Majority of all these sickness and disease out here, if you change how you eat, you can really reverse high blood pressure. You can reverse diabetes. You can reverse cancers. You can reverse so many different things by changing the way you eat. So you can't supplement your way out of healthy behaviors. On top of that, also getting proper rest. That's when the body naturally heals and repair itself. So if you're not getting an adequate at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, you're depriving your body of the time that it needs to heal and repair. Managing your stress properly. If you're high stress, that causes a lot of cellular damage. That throws off your hormonal balance. That puts you at risk for sickness and disease. So this thing, you got to look at it from a holistic standpoint. It ain't just dumping supplements. You really have to watch how you eat. You really have to take those other things into play. Getting together, people, fellowship, getting out of social isolation. That's important to have a healthy immune system. So this thing is multifaceted, saying all that to say that. So you can't supplement your way out of stuff. You have to change the way you eat. So that way, if you come in contact with something, your body is more fortified where it can fight it off. I've seen this on here twice. No, I have not heard of that study yet. All right. So why have doctors and surgeons always use the mask? That's the only thing you disagree with me on. No problem. I'm here to empower you information for you to make an informed decision. Surgeons have to use a mask to protect the patients because remember, the mouth is the nastiest place in the body. It's full of bacteria. Got a lot of bacteria in our mouth. And if the surgeon is on an operating room and they got a patient that they're slicing open and they're talking, you remember they're talking because they got to talk to their surgical assistant, whoever else is in that room. And so if they're talking and if that bacteria that's in their mouth through their spit is going into that open area where that person is cut open, guess what? They're increasing that patient's risk of developing an infection. So that's why they have to wear a mask. In regards to doctors, and when we have to work in the hospital, if we had to wear a mask for certain people who had respiratory things like tuberculosis, we had to have a fitted N95. So it was not any general N95 that you can go buy online at Amazon. It had to be fitted for our personal size and for us to use it for it to be effective. So the difference thing about the coronavirus, though, is about the particle size. So the particle size of the coronavirus is so small that it can get through the pores of a mask. That's why a standard traditional mask, the one that we've been wearing, is not effective because that coronavirus can get through those pores. Even if you look at the mask that we wear in the hospitals, it's open off to the side. It's not fully fitting across our face and our nose and chin. So once again, it's gaining access. It hasn't been shown how much of the viral particle you need to inhale in order to be infected with the virus. So you're still getting exposed to viral particles. But I will tell you, in my office, I do not wear a mask. My staff, they don't have to either. If they choose to, that's on them. I've come in contact with patients that has had coronavirus, and I'm right there in their face, listening to their lungs, assessing, doing a full assessment on my patients, and never have I contracted coronavirus for my patients. Why? Because my natural immune system, when I'm exposed to something that's not well, my natural immune system is going to do its job to keep me protected, to keep me healthy. So that's what I'm trying to say. There's more risk with you wearing a mask than there is with you not. But like I said, do what you choose to do at the end of the day. It's all a part of your fear tactic. I'm trying to tell you, it's not necessary. Africa said the flu vaccine has been manipulated every year. You're right. They can't be trusted. Salal said, should we be taking supplements? Should taking supplements continue as part of a daily life to help the immune system regardless of COVID? You can take supplements to help boost your immune system. That black seed oil, I read about that. It was phenomenal. I really do like it. But the vitamin D is important. So we're talking about vitamin D. Vitamin D is very, very, very important to have a healthy immune system. Vitamin D, like I said, also helps to protect against certain cancers. It helps with your mental health. It's also, they had some studies where it also showed help with some protection against cardiovascular disease. So vitamin D is very, very important. So yes, you should. But like I said, you can't supplement your way out of eating properly. It's called a supplement, right? So it's supposed to supplement something else. It supplements healthy behaviors. So keep that in mind. Smoking. If you're smoking, stop smoking. Every time you smoke, you do damage. You cause damage to your blood vessels every time you smoke. So it increases your risk of heart disease. It increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. It decreases, it constricts the blood vessels. So you're not getting adequate blood flow. So those are some lifestyle behaviors that we need to change if we truly want to be fortified. Smoking, especially for a prolonged period of times, it actually changes the cellular structure of your lungs. So instead of your lungs doing what it's supposed to do and having what they call this cilia to filter out germs and filter out viruses and filter out bacteria, smoking cigarettes kills all of that. So you don't have one of the functioning things. And then the cellular structure changes. So you're not able to push that stuff out like you should. So those are some things that we can do, lifestyle changes that can actually be very, very effective in keeping us healthy. Whoa. I can't keep up with these questions. I am so sorry. So Cheryl Owens, I hope I answered your question about the mask already. So it said, would I get the vaccine if my employer mandated it? You've also heard the threats that we would have to get the vaccine to fly. How would that affect you? I would definitely not get the vaccine at all whatsoever. I won't. So that won't even be an issue with me. And the whole thing about the thing to fly, like I said, I only heard of United Airlines having that conversation, but there's other airlines out there. So, but at the end of the day, I'm not getting the vaccine, so I don't care. My life is in God's hands. I'm going to trust God. That's where my faith holds. And so I'm going to trust that He's going to take care of me. I'm going to trust that He's going to take care of me financially. If there's any way where I need to fly to, He's going to provide me with my own private jet where I don't need to be on those airlines. But that's where my faith is. So I can care less what man do. God is my source. And I truly believe He's going to make sure I'm taken care of. So you read quercetin long-term is not good. That is not true, actually. Quercetin is an antioxidant and you can take it long-term. So you have to, remember the sources. I tried to actually share piece of this PowerPoint presentation. So in order to keep my license up, I still got to go to medical conferences. And I hate going to them because they lie every time, but I have to for my license and my certification. But so you always got to check the source. So in traditional medicine, they dog vitamins out, they dog herbs out, they dog anything holistic out. They make it seem like it's dangerous, it's unsafe, or it's ineffective. But you have to remember, they don't get money if somebody stay healthy. They only get paid if you're sick. So their goal is to keep you sick. And so they want you to use their medications because, like I said, pharma runs the medical society. Unfortunately, medicine is not what it used to be. But so they're, of course, going to say that it's bad for you, but that's not true at all whatsoever. So you always got to consider the source. Wow, no, I didn't hear about Brenda Hall Perez dying, but that's crazy. All right, guys, it looked like we've been on for a while. I'm going to try to stay on another 10 minutes to try to answer as many questions here as possible. And then just FYI, next week, next Friday will be the last live Q&A, unless anything else change. Next week, I'll be on a full hour like it looks like I am today to answer your questions. But I feel like we've gave enough information. If someone had any other questions, they can go through the videos that's already been done. If anything change along the way, if any new data, any new information, I'll definitely come back on to be sharing. But I feel like we've given a lot of information now. I think we talked about this too. How do I feel about Tyler Perry debate? That Tyler Perry thing was, like I said, they had two doctors on there that was all part of the system and part of the whole agenda and what they're trying to push and do. Tyler Perry, like I said, that was all staged because right after the interview, he was trying to make it sound like he wanted to make a decision, but he had the vaccine ready for him right after the interview. So like I said, if you look at the Yale study, about messaging, and if you also look at the thing that was published by National Institutes of Health, they put on there that part of strategy is to use people in our communities that they think we trust to go up there and pub the vaccine, hoping that more people would get the vaccine as a result. So it was just a ploy. I'm sure they paid to do that foolishness, but yeah, whatever to that. And good luck on him since he got that vaccine. Well, wish him well. All right, I think we got time for a few more questions. Miss Biz Diva, I have no idea why they're not getting the alerts. Like I told you, they're watching everything I'm doing right now, so who knows what they're doing. But I try to get on at 12. So if you can be on like 12:02, 12:03, you should catch me. So Edward, what is the best multivitamin for someone over 50 and over? So how I approach my patients, I don't have a one size fit all. I don't have this do for everybody or whatever. It's all patient dependent. It's all individualized care. So I really can't recommend what would be the best for you without knowing anything about your medical history. So it'll be difficult for me to do that. But you do want to make sure you got something for 50 and over. Make sure you got some vitamin D. Coenzyme Q10 is also good. Coenzyme Q10 is something that our own body produces. But typically when we start getting 40 and over, we start decreasing the amount of coenzyme Q10 that we have. Coenzyme Q10 again, it's important to keep the elasticity of the blood vessels so to help with the circulation. So something with some coenzyme Q10 to be good. But like I said, I can't really give a recommendation without knowing your medical history. Sheena, what can you do to make sure you have a healthy gut? Hopefully you can find a holistic practitioner. If you're in Michigan, you can call me and get an appointment scheduled and I can take care of you. But there's a particular diagnostic test that I use. It's a functional medicine diagnostic tool. So you won't see that in traditional medicine offices, but it's called a GI map. And it is phenomenal. I mean, it is outstanding. It shows me everything that's going on in your gut microbiome, from the good bacteria to the bad bacteria to the opportune bacteria. So those that can try to create disease and autoimmune disease. It shows me how well your digestion function is. It shows me about any inflammation in the gut. Like, it's a lot. So I really like that test. Another test I usually do for patients is the checking allergies and food sensitivities. Very, very important. Sometimes we're eating stuff that we don't even know that we're allergic to or sensitive to, and that's causing inflammation in our gut. So I also do that. I also tell all my patients to stay away from dairy and stay away from gluten. It is horrible. And making sure you're drinking some water. So those are some things that I usually do with my patients. But like I said, you know, we'll have to get that test done. Yes, Jay Renee looked up my office hours. Those are my office hours and my phone number. So if you're in the state of Michigan, or if you want to do a telemedicine virtual visit where we could dive more into your GI health and things of that nature. So definitely I'm available. Yes, you can email me. My email address is contact islands at Synergy. That's SYNERGY 913.com. All right, guys, I think that's the last question, I think. If I missed somebody, my apologies. I didn't think I can. I didn't think I did, but I oh, I didn't see this one. So opinion on monoclonal antibody therapy. Like I said, that's something new. So it's still in a clinical trial. If you get it, you'll be a part of an experiment. So I'm not for anything that they're pushing out right now. All right, guys, it looked like that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I don't think there's any other questions on here. But like I said, next week will be the last live Q&A for, a while, unless, like I said, new information come or new findings come and something that I feel like we didn't talk about before that needs to be addressed. So just make sure you keep, subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure you put on there for the alerts. I'll post something. Also, you can go and like Synergy Health and Wellness on Facebook. So like Synergy Health and Wellness on Facebook. That's my business Facebook page. And what I would do if I'm going to do a live Q&A, I'll post it on there like at least a couple days beforehand. So that way you'll know to be looking out for the live Q&A when it happens. So we can do that as well, just to make sure everybody stay empowered, stay knowledgeable. And like I said, don't get all bent and twisted about this mass situation. Stay focused on what the true thing is, which is staying away from this vaccine 100%, hands down. I wish you all the best. Stay healthy out there. Stay well. Much love. Take care.